Based on nothing more than a broken glass on the floor and a footprint on the door, Detective Sherlock deduced that this wasn't a kidnapping, but an inside job. A nearby investigator questioned his logic. If it was an inside job, why the forced entry? Sherlock found the base of a second glass in the crack of a cabinet. 2 broken glasses proved the victim was entertaining a guest when the incident occurred. The footprint, deliberately left on the door, was meant to fake a violent break-in and conceal the fact that the perpetrator was an acquaintance of the owner. The victim's husband, Roth, claimed a ring box was missing from the table. Sherlock pointed out that a kidnapper's target is the hostage. A cheap ring box would be meaningless to them, but to a certain type of murderer, it might be a trophy. He postulated that the victim was already dead. Pacing by the bed, Sherlock's keen eyes noticed a slight 5-degree incline between the wall and the floor. He asserted, "The victim never left. She's hidden in a secret room behind the wall." A glass marble rolling slowly across the floor confirmed his suspicion. He fumbled around the headboard until, with a click, a hidden door swung open. Behind the door, the victim was lying in a pool of blood. The gruesome sight shocked everyone present. Sherlock continued his reasoning. This was not a kidnapping, but a homicide. The killer strangled the victim as she was pouring water. She broke the glass while struggling free and fled toward the secret room, but was caught and killed the instant she hit the switch. The killer grabbed the ring box on his way out. Sherlock noted that the ligature marks on the deceased's neck indicated the killer had large, powerful hands and was likely over 6 feet tall. The husband, Roth, was small and slender, physically incapable of causing such marks, which ruled him out as the direct perpetrator. Now, they just needed to investigate the tall acquaintances of the victim. Soon, the list led them to a plastic surgeon, Dr. Gao. He claimed to have no motive and produced a photo of the victim before her surgery. Sherlock was puzzled. Why would a naturally beautiful woman want plastic surgery to look like someone else? Just as the trail went cold, Sherlock suddenly remembered the killer taking the worthless ring box as a trophy. This likely wasn't his first crime. An investigation revealed another kidnapping case from a year ago that was strikingly similar. The victims in both cases had the same long red hair and facial features. Clearly, the killer was hunting a specific type of woman. Fortunately, the victim from a year ago was still alive. She told Watson the kidnapper was her distant relative, a young man named Xiao Jie, and she couldn't believe he would strike again. However, by the time police arrived at his home, Xiao Jie had already shot himself. They found the victim's ring box on his table. On the surface, with a witness and physical evidence, it appeared to be an open and shut case of Xiao Jie committing suicide out of guilt. But Sherlock found unexplainable loose ends at the scene. Xiao Jie's phone was missing, and his call records had ended abruptly 3 days prior. Furthermore, his bank statements showed he was receiving ongoing psychological therapy, but his listed therapist had died 2 years ago. The victim's husband, Roth, also happened to be a psychologist. Sherlock deduced there was an unknown connection between Roth and Xiao Jie. He found Roth and laid out his final deduction face to face. "You've wanted to kill your wife for a long time. You exploited Xiao Jie's deep-seated hatred for his red-haired adoptive mother, a result of his troubled childhood, to orchestrate a perfect murder by proxy. You brainwashed your wife into getting plastic surgery to resemble his adoptive mother, and then had her dye her hair red. You deliberately arranged for Xiao Jie, a delivery boy, to bring her flowers every week to create opportunities for contact. Then, you swapped his sedatives with a drug that would intensify his mania. After your wife was dead, you silenced Xiao Jie, faking it to look like a suicide out of guilt, and took his phone from the scene because it contained the recordings of your therapy sessions, the only evidence of your connection. Your real motive was to get your hands on the massive fortune in your wife's name." Roth confessed on the spot, but he showed no fear because there was no evidence to overturn a closed case. The next morning, however, the case took a turn. Watson discovered on a medical report that Xiao Jie had a severe allergy to rice. Yet strangely, a newly purchased bag of rice was found in his home. Why would someone buy something that could kill them? Sherlock and the chief inspector arrested Dr. Roth on the spot. They had found the evidence to convict him, the missing phone. Remember the overturned washing machine? Xiao Jie had gotten his phone wet while doing laundry. In a fit of mania, he smashed the machine and then went out to buy rice, hoping its absorbent properties would save the phone. Just moments ago, Sherlock had returned to Xiao Jie's home and found the phone buried in the bag of rice. The contents within were enough to prove the husband was the true killer. Hearing this, Roth finally fell silent, no longer arguing. And for Sherlock Holmes and Watson, the story of this dynamic duo had only just begun.